As in most mornings, I want to give a minute for everyone to log on and check on this. So we'll begin our announcements here in about a minute. While people are logging on, I know most of you get to see Luther occasionally when I bring him into the office to do devotions, but this is our kitty Dexter, and he decided he wanted to be in the shot. As anybody who has been working from home knows that cats love to find a way of working their way into our shots and our Zoom meetings. They just love to be on top of anything that we're doing. So that's Dexter this morning. So. Well, I think there's about 7 or 8 of us on at this point. So we're getting up to 8, 10. Well, I think it is about 10 a.m. now, and I know that a number of you already logged on, and I want to try to honor our time this morning as we begin our worship. As most of you can see, I am not in the sanctuary this morning. First, I want to say I'm healthy. I've had no symptoms and everything else, and I feel very blessed and fortunate in that regard. But the reason for this is that many of you know Bob Kiefer passed away this past Friday morning, and when Vera and the family were meeting with the funeral directors to plan out the funeral, I kind of felt called that I needed to be there to be a support for Vera and her family. And later, I should say on Monday morning, I learned that on that Friday evening that the funeral director that we were working with went home that evening, started having a fever, and subsequently went in on Saturday and got a COVID test, and it was one of the rapid tests, but tested positive for COVID-19. And at that point, when I learned about it, it was too late to not do the funeral or anything else, as people and family were already starting to gather. So we went ahead and did the funeral on Monday and the interment Tuesday morning. And since that time, out of an abundance of caution from being exposed to it, I decided to kind of self-quarantine at least to get through 10 days. Today, or I should say later this afternoon, will be the end of those 10 days. But again, I don't want to run the risk of infecting Chad or Sammy K or anyone else that comes and helps us for worship all the time. Also, yesterday I was able to go and get a COVID test myself, just again to kind of put it out of my mind, but out of anyone else's mind that I might come in contact with. And of course, I'm waiting the results, as so many other people that go and have those tests do. They have to wait a day or two for the results to come back. But I'm fairly confident at this point, since I'm not showing any symptoms, that I'm out of the woods. But again, out of abundance of caution, we're doing the things that the CDC tells us to do. So just a couple of other announcements. About a half hour ago, I posted the service of the word from Epiphany that our Bishop Laura Barbans created for us and for our synod. And I thought it would be a wonderful thing, since she has now taken office just in December, that we would get a chance to hear Bishop Barbans preach and the entire synod staff lead worship today, especially since we can't be in the service. A couple of things I posted online earlier this week was the order of service, as well as all the credits that the synod posted for the service in the Facebook link. Also, you won't need an actual, other than just kind of following along the order of service. Almost everything is printed into the text. They've edited hymns and music and everything right there in the screen for everyone, so they don't need to have an actual bulletin like we do on most Sundays, as well as any of the text and call and responses for that. Again, I've had a chance to view it. It was a wonderful service. It's based on the text readings for the 8th Sunday in Epiphany, which we almost never really get to hear, because there's usually not 8 Sundays in Epiphany. Also, in addition to that service, I also posted a little while ago all the readings and the prayers and those that we would have lifted up in prayer in the service on the church Facebook page as well. So if you'd like to use that for a devotion during the week, there's the Confession of Forgiveness, the Creed, the prayers of intercession. All those are available for you to use as you go about your week. This past Thursday, we started our new Bible study via Zoom on Towards the Kingdom of Heaven, which was written by Amy Jill Levine, who is a professor of Old Testament and New Testament at Vanderbilt. And it's really wonderful study of looking at Jesus' teachings on the Sermon on the Mount as a kind of a beginner's guide to how to be a Christian, but also it really highlights, as Dr. Levine is Jewish, the Jewish heritage that Jesus would have been teaching out of. Because again, Jesus was a Jew. And he would have been teaching in accordance with those things, as well as new teachings. So again, it's a wonderful study. If you'd like to be a part of that, we only got through chapter 1, and there's still about another 6 or 7 chapters. I have a few extra books in our church office that you're welcome to come by and pick up. And we'll continue the work on that study. Also, what are some other things I needed to tell you about this morning? I did receive a few tweets, as well as other messages from our presiding bishop, Bishop Eaton, and she was commenting on the various rumors and chatter there is out on the internet and in social media about churches being attacked, especially more progressive or liberal churches possibly being protested against as we go about the next couple of days in the life of our country. She has been in contact with the FBI and other intelligence agencies who really don't rate that as credible threats. That being said, it's out of abundance of caution, it's always good to keep a lookout over the next couple of days. But so please, if you're driving by the church, take a look, make sure that nothing else is out of the ordinary. And if you see something that's suspicious, please call me, call anybody on church council and let them know. And we'll make sure that we respond to those because we want to make sure everybody at the church as well as our church facilities are safe and secure. Finally, the last announcement, church council met this last Tuesday, and one of the things we discussed was the desire of many of our members to be back to in-person worship, even though we're still in red. And we want to know, first of all, make sure that we communicate that we hear you, that we hear the desire to be back in community, even more in-person community opposed to just gathering online. One of the things we still feel that we need to do to make that a possible reality for us is that we would like to get the UV light system, the hand air sanitizing system installed in our air handlers in the sanctuary. We thought we were really close about 2 or 3 weeks ago that our air handler or that our UV light system was in stock and ready to be put in, and discovered that it was for another church. So we are still back on the waiting list. We think it'll be less than 3 weeks that we'll have that light system here in Massillon and hopefully being installed. And at that point, church council feels that that would be the appropriate time to reconsider some of our guidelines about just flat out, if we're in red, that we just live stream only. So please know that church council understands and hears that desire to be back into in-person and in community. And we're working hard to try to make that a reality, or at least make it the safest reality we can when we go back to that. So please keep your ears open. We will certainly send out email blasts as well as on my morning devotions. I'll let you know any of those things that we can communicate to you. And again, hopefully in the next 3-4 weeks, we will have that installed, and we can reconsider those guidelines a little bit to allow for in-person while we are red. In your prayers today, and again, on the Facebook page, I listed all the, in that set of lessons and stuff for this Sunday, I did include all the people that we pray need to continue to lift up in prayers. Certainly the family of Chuck Evans and the Earl Everett and Bob Kiefer, who have all passed away in this last month. So if you please keep all those families in your prayers. Also, Dave Paul is, to my knowledge, is still, I talked to Marcia earlier in the week, and he is still in the ICU and on a ventilator, and it's been somewhat of a roller coaster for David. His numbers go up one day, down the next, sometimes hourly, so please keep Dave and Marcia in your prayers as well. So at this time, I'm going to log off and watch the service with all of you. If you, again, just scroll a little farther down, you will see the Epiphany service that Bishop Barbans put together for us and led for us. And I look forward to seeing you all on Tuesday in our morning devotions. Again, knock on wood, if the test comes back negative, which I expect it to do, we will be back to our normal operations going forward. So I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day and weekend. I hope we continue to pray for peace in our country and for peace in our communities as we go about the inauguration of a new president. Again, I hope that we have a wonderful and blessed week as we go about living in America in 2021. Again, take care, God bless. I look forward to watching the service by Bishop Barvins with all of you today.